in the sort of one gene, one ill, one pill model, we have crammed psychopathology and psychopharmacology into that model. And so we have focused in a very reductionist manner on this, frankly, fantasy that antidepressants, for example, are only modulating one neurochemical out of 100 in the brain, and they really don't have much of an impact on the rest of the body. And to me, from my vantage point now, that's almost like suggesting you can pull one thread of a spider web and leave the rest of it intact, no problem, right? So we are now understanding that any chemical exposure, largely, medication-based, but otherwise, environmental and industrial chemicals or recreational substances, any chemical exposure forces the body to adapt because of a principle called homeostasis, where the body is always, in its very sophisticated and interconnected mechanisms, trying to adapt to exposures. That's what the body does. It adapts and adapts and adapts. So the way that a given body adapts to an SSRI, for example, is completely unpredictable. And the way that these medications affect individual biochemistry, let alone the way that they affect behavior and consciousness even, is not only unpredictable, but is entirely unstudied. And so that's why we're in a situation where if we actually follow the published literature, we have a growing concern that these medications have the unique ability to induce impulsive violence in a way that no other category of pharmaceuticals, to my knowledge, is really capable of. And that's such a distortion of consciousness that I would love to know what these medications are doing. I'm sure there are a lot of people who would love to know what it is that they're doing, and we just don't have a good sense. I follow a literature that actually suggests that a growing focus on the microbiome, which is this inner ecology in our guts that we now understand to be essentially the seat of health, that all ancient forms of medicine have always told us, that the gut is this. There are probably 3 rodent studies that have actually examined the impact of various psychiatric medications on the gut microbiome, right? This is an important question. If we're going to acknowledge that the gut microbiome is pivotal to health, we should probably know what a given medical intervention does to it, right? So this is just one example of many unanswered questions, unexamined questions, because we didn't know up until now maybe what questions to ask. But the truth is that my observation around the impact of psychiatric treatment is that it largely co-opts and maybe arrests a personal evolution that, was an opportunity for which was offered to the patient at their time of crisis.